How did it work out for women who gave nice guy a chance?
Turned out to be an awful human being. Was a nice shy guy at first, but upon getting into a serious relationship that was just for the public. Behind closed doors was a very insecure person. He had decent looks but was short and skinny with glasses. I didn't mind and never used that against him, but it affected his confidence and he took it out on everyone else. Even after trying to work on it for months and always reassuring him, he ended up cheating on me several times and then hid behind the nice guy victim thing. Went and told everyone that I was out of his league and just using him as a place to live and I had been the one cheating, which wasn't true. I moved out and got my own place immediately to proceed I could and cut all ties. Went on and on about what a great, compassionate guy he was. He was actually just your garden variety, abusive psycho. He once said to me, "I wish you had been abused so you would realize how great I am." What the F? Who says that? Ha ha ha. Literally saying I wish your standards were lower so I would look better to you. Lol. Bro, no, I didn't actually give him a chance, but I was talking to my guy friend, Andrew, in the break room at work one day and another guy jumps in the conversation with a "Hey man, what's up" to Andrew. I assumed they must be coworkers. After that he proceeds to stop by my office every night on his way out to make increasingly awkward small talk. I mention that I have a boyfriend, true, but he keeps coming anyway looking for anything to talk about. Hey, pointing to the cartoon on the box of cereal on my desk, it looks like we're both into anime. Nope, I'm just into generic Lucky Charms, dude. I try to be friendly. Then he escalates into things like, "Does your boyfriend come take you out to lunch every week?" No. "You deserve someone who treats you better than that." He offers to build me a better desk. I decline and get a "Geez, I'm just trying to do something nice for you." I tell him these conversations are making me uncomfortable and when I'm at work I'm working. He gives me a "Geez, I was just saying hi on my way out." I close my office door. He keeps coming and knocking. I keep the door closed and wave him off. He gives me flowers for Valentine's Day. I go to my friend Andrew and ask him if he'll tell his coworker to F off. Turns out Andrew has only ever talked to him that one time in the break room. We look him up in the company directory and the guy works 2 floors below me, so I'm not on his way out. Eventually I called corporate security and they had a talk with him and his boss and they activate his badge access to my floor. He proposed to me after we worked on a group project. When I turned down this guy I barely knew and definitely never dated, he stalked and harassed me for about half a year until he found his next true love. He was a serial proposer. You must have done one hell of a job on that assignment then. He went out bowling with his friends and then when he came home he complained to me that for the first time in his life a hot girl had hit on him while he was out, and he was unlucky enough to actually have a girlfriend. He seemed genuinely sad he had to turn her down, and expected me to be grateful he did it. I've had this happen to me too. The sad part is it was a complete lie. He just wanted me to feel like I had competition. Dude, please. He was always nice to me but very easily jealous anytime another guy spoke to me. We were just friends and only went out once, yet he felt like he needed to make me feel bad whenever other guys gave me a little attention. He also had a horrible drinking problem and serious anger issues. And the whole time he was trying to woo me, he was also hooking up with his ex and ended up getting her pregnant. So yeah, no regrets about that. This happened to me with my ex, but while we were dating. Whenever I did something that he wasn't present for, or when he wasn't around me physically, he would get jealous at the fictional or imaginary guy I was speaking to, or the possibility of meeting another guy, and leaving him, in his mind, based on his own deep-seated insecurities. For example, one time, we were supposed to meet up after one of his classes ended, and I wandered off because I got a migraine, which comes with confusion for me. The first thing out of his mouth when he finally finds me? "Where were you? What were you doing?" "You were talking with another guy," Weren't you? Were you cheating on me with another guy? Meanwhile, I am confused, in a lot of pain, and not even sure what he's even talking about. Not well. He was funny and friendly in public, but turned into a different person as soon as we were behind closed doors. He was basically your textbook abuser, manipulative, controlling, and demanding. He wanted to do some really weird and degrading, to me, stuff and acted like I was the psycho for not wanting to. He'd make angry comments like I'm just trying to be romantic and you keep freaking out. I got out of the relationship before he could hit or rape me, but no question that was what the future held. Oh, and he still insisted that he was the nicest guy I'd ever meet. Same here. He was the funny guy, the sill that every mother dreams about, but behind closed doors he was controlling and manipulative. If I was to go out with friends he would try to blackmail me saying I was abandoning him, and that I didn't love him. He would say those things even when I got together with colleagues to study. He tried to isolate me from my friends and family. He said that if I ever cheated he would hit me so hard no one would recognize me. When I realized what was going on I was on a toxic relationship for a year. And noped out with the help of some friends who never gave up on me. Until today he tells the story that I was the crazy girlfriend and that he was a terrible victim on the story. We met on Tinder and he convinced me he was such a nice guy and he was so misunderstood. The typical sob story. He fatfished me with old photos, tried to convince me that I had autism and we would be an amazing autistic couple. I finished the date, politely making conversation while waiting for my half of the check. At the end, I wouldn't let him walk me to my car. I walked him to the bus stop and waited for the bus to drive off before I left. When I told him later that night that we didn't really have chemistry, he begged for another chance. He told me he was really depressed and had to see me again because I helped him to feel happy. This is 110% emotional blackmail and I fell for it. We met again. I was really uncomfortable the entire time but he tried to insist that I was the one for him if I would just meet him closer to his place. He kept trying to grab my waist and hands despite me saying no. I was weirded out and eventually said goodnight. He went in for a kiss, but I ducked and walked the long way home. He threatened suicide later that night and showed me his giant scar down his arm from when he had been unsuccessful previously. I freaked out and blocked him. He messaged me on Facebook a week later telling me that he thought we had chemistry and he hadn't friended me yet because he thought it was creepy. So he waited and was messaging me as a final attempt to court me. It was a wild ride. He seemed a bit shy but goofy, smart and genuinely kind when he approached me, so I agreed to go out and we hit it off at first. Deep, meaningful conversation about our personal challenges, him quickly meeting my friends and me being the first person he called after a family emergency. We were both pretty vulnerable, but things were seemingly progressing somewhat well. One day he was on Tinder in bed next to me and when called on it, he said that dating me had made him realize that he needed more confidence and experience with women and thus needed to date a lot more different people, but that he only fucked the others at their houses, so I was obviously his no one. I freaked, cried and broke things off. He called me the next day to casually ask me out to the new Hunger Games movie. I got an STD screening the next week. He harassed me at work for another 6 months. That's next level nice. Some would even say he is a great guy. Oh yes, the shy goofy nerdy type who begs for a single woman to give him a chance. And then you do, and he gets to thinking you've woken some sleeping giant Casanova and he simply can't limit himself anymore. Well now tale as old as time. He'll be back, they always are. Laugh in his face.
Subscribe for the best Reddit stories.